Well, good morning. Today is May 6th, is actually, no, it's June 2nd. I'm still thinking I'm in May. It's June 2nd, 2026. It's in the morning, pretty early in the morning. We're talking about 4 a.m. And today I want to go over Artificial Superintelligence Alliance, otherwise known as FET. So, if this is your first time to the channel, I am a long-term positional trader, which means I'm not trying to most of the time, I'm not trying to make money on a very short term. I'm trying to do more long-term trades. And I am an amateur. I have a day job. So that's why I record these things in the morning because I do it before I go to work. So please keep that in mind. This is not financial advice. This is just me kind of showing you what I have on the charts. For full disclosure, I am invested in FET, or Artificial Superintelligence Alliance. Uh, so please take that under consideration as well. So today I'm looking at the monthly chart of FET. I guess it's not Fetch, it's FET. And as you can see, the price got down here. This was back in February, and it got really far away from the 20 moving average, which means that the price wants to catch up to the 20 moving average. So it started having a spike up. Now, there's no guarantee that it's going to go and touch this good, but this is a good first sign, and this is our first sign that we are starting maybe a bull run for fetch. Okay. Now, if I take the 8, as you can see, the price has now confirmed above the 8 moving average. And so what we want to see now is we want to see this 8, and this again, we're talking the monthly chart. So this isn't going to happen overnight or in a day. We want to start it starting to slowly go up like this, and we want it to cross the 20 moving average. So that's what we were looking for in the long term, but right now it's just confirmed above the 9 moving average on the monthly chart. Another thing that is a good sign is that it this the way I want to say this is this is the low of fetch back in November 2022, and as you can see, it had this long bull run, and ever since we've been in March 2024, it's been in a bear market. That's the only way to describe it. And we are in the process of trying to reverse that. So what you have to understand is this is the last pivot high right here. So technically, okay, so the next bullish marker that we are looking for is for FET to actually get above this high, which is at about a buck. Now, does that mean that this is just going to race up like this and hit it? No. We want it to do a structure where it has higher higher highs and higher lows. So it can so we want to see a structure where sort of like this, it goes up, maybe starts coming down, then goes up, goes down, goes up, goes down, and kind of gets above this. There might be longer runs where the up is like super long, but we want to start seeing that it have this kind of structure because right now we have not had our first pivot yet. And so whether or not this is going to continue tells us a lot about whether this is whether it's going to continue on and have a chance to get over there, and then ultimately we want a new all-time high, don't we? I mean that's what we want. So we are on this is we're I'm going to call this phase one. So what this means is that it hasn't had a pivot, so we're waiting for where the pivot is going to occur. We do not know where the pivot is going to occur. So here are some bullish signs that for at least a little while, maybe most of this month, it may go up a little higher before it has its first pivot point. There's no guarantees, but There is some signs on the lower end that says that for a little while it's going to run. But however, there are also some signs that it is going to start to retrace. But that's not a bad thing. This is normal. It always happens. So let's go over those signs as we see now. So the first thing I want to go over, if we go over to this chart, I like to use uh, the RSI, stochastic RSI, and the MACD, but I seem to have lost my RSI, so I guess I better pull that up. And let's see here. Let's do my, um, well, I'm going to use the regular RSI. I have a different one that doesn't really have the there, that's what I want. Okay. All right. So if you look at the RSI, I had this marked up, but somehow I deleted it before the video. Is the last time we hit, I'm going to explode this a little bit. Back here, when we hit our first low, the RSI dipped to, let's see, right there, it dipped to about, let's see, this says it's 39. And when we got to our low here, we dipped to very close to 39. It was probably more like 40. So we have touched the most oversold that this particular uh, asset had been. That doesn't mean they can't go more oversold, but it reacted once it touched this low here. So this is when our FET was oversold and its most low oversold point to date. But again, we don't have a lot of history, so you got to take that with a grain of salt. But one other bullish thing that's happening that says that we're in for more long-term upside is the monthly stochastic RSI for the first time on this particular asset has crossed below the 20. It hasn't had enough history that it's ever done this. When it started registering the stochastic RSI, it was here, and look at this. And this is what you have to take in consideration. With it being here at 67, it went up and had a 6,726% gain movement. Okay, so it went from a price of 6 cents to $3.55, and that was going from here to here before it started this long trace down. Does that mean that there's a possibility that it could go higher than $1? Because we're not starting at the same point. I mean, well, this is $3.50, 60 cents. Is there a possibility it could go higher? Absolutely, but nothing's guaranteed. But this is very bullish that we are now having the monthly stochastic RSI cross. And of course, what we'd love it to do is to go up all the way here. And it's not going to do it like really quick. It's just going to start moving up there. Now, sometimes as you can see, the stochastic RSI does not make it to the top. It can do something like this. So I just don't want you to think, oh, it's going to the moon. No. I mean, it can do something like this and have a failed rally. But notice failed rallies with after a monthly stochastic RSI cross can be a significant amount of money. Even if, for instance, it gets to this point and stops, that is still a, let's see, right there, that's still a 667% move. Okay, that's a lot of money if you, depending on how much money you put into it. But that's a return on your money is probably a better way to say that. That's a big return on your money depending on what you put into it. So so things are looking pretty good for Fetch. I mean, I'm not saying that they're the best they're ever going to be, but it's looking pretty good. The money flow index is not an oversold. It's at 46. The MACD a little bit slower in its reaction is starting to curve. Notice that the red histogram is starting to hit closer to the center line, and then it wants to go back up. So that is the monthly view. Now let's go back to let's do a weekly view. Okay, and so this is another bullish sign. So, excuse me for a second. Sorry about that. Uh, the 8 moving average has crossed the 20 moving average, and this is the 200 moving average. So if I bring on the 50 here, it's still below the 50, but it's starting its formation to where you want the you want the 9 and the 20 to start rising higher towards this 200. If we look at the daily, you can see that uh, the moving averages are really bunched together. I mean, I'm going to explode this a little bit. It's really hard to see. But, so you have the 200 moving average right here. You have the 50 moving average here, which appears slightly under it. And you have the 20 moving average here. And you have, of course, the 9, which has exploded over top of them. The 20 has crossed the 50 and the 200, and it's not convincing cross though. We want to see this move higher. If I look at the 2-day, the 200 period moving average is up here, but you can see it clearly. This is usually why I like to actually trade more on the 2-day than the daily, is because I think the signals are a little bit clearer. But you could tell here that we are moving into what is called a momentum formation. Uh, well, maybe that's not the official word, but I call it that. And it's this idea of you have the 8 on top, you have the 20 in the middle, and the 50 below it. And as long as they all rise together, like this, then what happens is this is the sign of bullish momentum. Essentially, it's like a railroad track going up. And what you want the price to do is you don't want the price to fall below the 50. So as it's going up, there will be times where the price will get too high above the 20, as it is right now. See, right now, price is starting to move away from this 20 moving average, and it's going to want to retrace and come back closer. But when it hits, you want, of course, the 20 average to be over here. So what you want to see the stock continuously do is, as this rises, you first would love it if it gets caught on the 9, but if it gets past the 9, as long as it gets caught on the 20, that's good. It can get concerning once it passes under the 20 to the 50, but if the 50 catches it and pushes it up like this, then the bull market's still on. So the 50 is the last point of no return. The 20 is really where you want it to be caught. Now, keep in mind that as you're starting to see this play out through the month, uh, is you want, let me just remove these real quick. What you want to see as this plays out through the month is you just want to see these moving averages rising higher. You want them to be a steeper incline or a steeper angle. You don't want them to be like this. You want them to be kind of like this. That's kind of like the ideal angle. The support and resistant properties of these moving averages are best when it's like this. When it's the steeper it is, the more the price has nothing to catch on, so it just slides down. Now, a big test for the FET is going to be when it hits this 200. When a 200 moving average is flat, like this, it has its most powerful support and resistance properties. There is a very high likelihood that the moving averages could hit there, and retrace. And it may do something like this where it tries to hit this 200 moving average and then eventually gets over, or it could hit it and then just go down. So we are early, but there are signs that the bull run has started. And what I want you to also keep an eye out on is when we go to the lower time frames. Is I did it again. I somehow have lost the stochastic RSI. Let me bring that up real quick. I am misclicking or something. So stochastic RSI. All right, I'm going to move that up here. I want you to keep in mind when you're looking at the stochastic RSI as we drop down to the weekly, is right now the stochastic RSI is in oversold, but it is still above 80. It's still above 80. So this area is where it's considered oversold, but it's not uncommon for the stochastic RSI to stay up here for quite a while. Notice back here in this run, this was, keep in mind we're on the weekly. It crossed here and went down here below the 80, and that was 10 weeks. You can also see something like this, but usually this is I mean, as you can see during this, when this stochastic RSI, it had come to it had faltered all the way down here. It already had its high. It tried to go back up, but had a failed rally. And that whole process took about 12 weeks. And again, even though it's in a bear market, notice that even though it tried to push up, it's going down. And so, right now the weekly chart is going up. So this is why I'm saying there are signs that the price is going to probably push up a little bit higher, but at some point the weekly RSI is going to start going down. You can already start to see this play out in, I think it's the daily. On the daily, the RSI has crossed below the red line, and there's signs that it may cross below the red. Does that mean that it goes all the way down to the bottom? No, but as you can tell, the on the daily, the RSI, the stochastic RSI, the money flow index, and even the MACD are all saying, for the short term, we're we're in overbought. So it's going to want to move down lower. And keeping track of these various days can be kind of uh, let's just call it disconcerting, especially when you're a new trader. You're not sure. Okay, should I trust the daily more and trust that? What I want you to do is just keep in mind of what the long-term goal is. If you want to trade this for the long term, okay, you're going to have days where it's going to go down, and you're going to have days when it's going to go up. But if you look at it from the long term, you have not seen anything in the monthly chart. And if you want to, you can even drop down a little bit more. Let's say the 2-week chart that is bearish. Okay, these candles that you're seeing here is the price going up and down. But as you can tell by the current formation, the the candles are moving up, and that's what you want to see. So short term, like I said, we want to see this particular trend continue. We are expecting it to hit a pivot point and to start retracing on its first pause, and that'll probably be up here. So if you're not invested in FET, you could wait until that first pause. So what we're expecting is at some point, and I have no idea where this is going to happen on the way, okay? But at some point, it's going to hit an inflection point and go down like this. And if you're not in FET, this might, at the bottom of this inflection point, and the way you would know it's at the bottom is when you see a strong candle um, overtake a red candle on a color change that might be a sign that it's starting to do this. So you could invest somewhere in there. Another option is you could go ahead and put your money in with the hope that it's going up, but just be very, if you're not already in FET, just be very careful that you may want to put a stop loss so that if it makes a lower low, then that's a bad sign. So you definitely are going to want your stop loss. Well, technically you would put your stop loss here, but that might be too much of a loss. So I would say maybe about right here. If the price crosses below that, it's probably not going to go any higher because it's breaking the formation of a higher high and a higher low. So just keep that in mind. If you're already in FET, like I said, just wait. Watch how it does in the formation and see if it starts, if it keeps on the bullish run. You want to see higher highs, higher lows, and we'll see where we are in a month or two. So, so again, right now everything seems good. Like I said, the price, we'll see what happens. Uh, we still want we for the on the monthly chart, what you want to see is you want to see that the price is respecting the 8. So if the price does not cross below the 8 and works its way up to cross above the 20, that's incredibly bullish. And once that happens, you're pretty much confirming you're in a good run. And there are chances it could go higher. So that's what we're looking for. So I hope this helped out. You have a great morning, and may God bless your day. Amen.